Well, it appears that Radiant Typhoon and so many other challengers are stepping up. Make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more honest content. Over the weekend, Kongs ran an amazing tournament for Genesys, actually getting a good chance to showcase how this format is shaping up, and this is your top cut for top 16 out of the 100+ players that came out and played. Now, we did have 4 Vanquished Soul duelists. Vanquished Soul does feel a little bit further ahead than a lot of the other decks, but I mean, they don't have Rock the Vanquisher, which is one of the things that actually kind of breaks this deck, in my personal opinion, you know, from kind of pushing itself a little bit further ahead. So I do like to remind people that, you know, yes, VS is a good deck, but we're not breaking things up too harshly. We've also got 2 Odeon decks. Odeon has been a great challenger in this format, but other rogue decks are actually really good at checking this. I also did have 2 Radiant Typhoon challengers. I actually am kind of surprised about that. That was the deck that definitely caught me off guard. We also had Purely kind of in a really weird state, but I mean, the cat ends up being pretty broken. We also had Fluffle, or Frightfur. That's an amazing one. Draco Tail still getting the chance to do all of its fusions that it wants to do. We also do get to see Mimighoul stepping in to the dungeon. I mean, Dungeon's an incredibly good card. It always will be in this sort of format. We also have Megalith exploding the ritual scene, which also helps out the rock decks get that chance to get in the spotlight and actually get a chance to, you know, be entertaining. That's the thing that you want to see here. We also did get a chance to see Lunalights. Who needs Pendulum Monsters when, you know, you have all of the good support allowing you the chance to functionally work together. We also had Goblin Biker Burning Abyss, which that one's amazing. And of course, Archmage still kind of continues its reign of terror in this format, which, I mean, this is amazing. Even though, you know, things look a little bit skewed, things are working out. Let's pass on over to deck list. Winning our event here is none other than the good old Vanquished Soul deck. And we're actually playing Doggerons in the main deck. Not only are the additional fire monsters to help you reveal, but also we get access to Radion here, making sure that, you know, we can kind of punish the opponent. Also, you know, Stake Your Souls actually costing a little bit of point values is frickin' hilarious to see. We also have Solemn Scoldings down here, Solemn Scolding being probably one of the bigger power cards for this event. But yeah, this deck looks absolutely amazing. Next up here, we have Odeon and all of the Dominus cards that you can fit into a deck. It's hilarious to me, you know, we get to see that these cards end up being incredibly broken, but also the Sudden Thunder Swamp being one of these really, really broken cards that actually helps Odeon kind of get a chance set up. You also do get to see Ultimate Slayers being one of the best and most powerful cards that Odeon actually has at its disposal. Answering any problem card is very, very good. Ooh. We also do get to see Purely, you know, these cats, they do cost, you know, points to actually make. And I mean, he's been a little bit of a problem here, but we also do see that Sleepy Memory and, of course, the Purely Streets costing. But this deck has also been using Seer Mode kind of as a board breaker-esque card. And that's honestly what its job is. You know, you set up, you deploy your monster, you break the opponent's field, and you're basically all set up to do your thing. Also, shout out to Di-Fi down there. We also have Frightfur. Now, what's very interesting is they're using this Miller here to help facilitate this. I also do see we're doing Vingolf's Blessing in here, which is kind of crazy. You also do get to see, you know, the fairy side of things kind of helping you out. But also, we get access to Lucy, the Dusk Dawn. You know, I say this is a Frightfur deck, but actually this is just kind of like very good stuff kind of coming together to kind of create this interesting scenario for board breaking. Okay. Next up here, we have Radiant Typhoon Wind Witch. It's crazy to me to see that Wind Witch is actually a deck in this format. You know, we always remember how crazy that this was, you know, getting the Crystal Wing boss monster on the field and telling, you know, rogue players that they have to get good. I also see the Sealing Ceremony of Radiation. Oh my gosh, that's an old one. And we get to see Miyabi down here as well. Nuts. We also have another Radiant Typhoon list, still going with, the full Wind Witch package in here. We do get to see some Ultimate Slayers here. Turning that MST into a negate is functionally what this deck wants to do. Once we have access to a Kaiju down here, which is really, really going to help. Also do see, hello, Shared Rides. We've also got the Ultimate Slayer. And, of course, we have an extra copy of Mandate as well, just to kind of put that pressure on your opponent so that, you can kind of clean things up. So looking pretty solid here. Next up, we have more VS. It's just not a day without seeing VS. So the Fire Attacker and the Impulses still kind of remain one of the best packages that we see within this format. It's just a pretty natural, progression on things. Pot of Extravs. I'm kind of glad to see that we've been kind of floating a little bit further away from this. We also do get to see the Sneaky C doing his job in the closet. Actually hilarious to see this. And of course, Ice Dragon's Prison being another very, very strong card. And then, oh boy, these deck lists are virtually the same, but I do see here that the Iron Thunder ends up being another little option for you. Skullmeister's coming in full swing here. We're actually main decking 2 shifters, which you may as well, right? Like, if you can actually hit a deck where this actually disrupts them, you kind of just go into a really game-winning position. Also, hilariously enough, we get to see Hey True Nades down here getting some love. That's awesome. Next up here, we have King of the Swamp and Friends. Being able to sub out and, make some, of the funner options. I mean, you don't need the Dark Dragoon, but, you got to pay your cost if you want to play this deck, which is unfortunately going to hurt, but, you have to kind of supplement in some more of this stuff. Also, the Shadal stuff is meant to kind of just help us facilitate and do things, but you're not getting access to those broken floodgate effects, which is definitely helping out here. Ooh, we have the Mimigol Man with the triple Bot Herder. I'm telling you guys, Bot Herder, you get one monster a stick on your opponent's field, you Bot Herder them, you get to take control of the full field, and that's an incredibly crazy thing to see. You've also got board-breaking Dark World No More in here. Also do see we are playing the Ghost Trick Shot. Yes, to go down some of the crazy little, Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief to turbo out, the Utopic Future stuff. Didn't really think I'd see that sticking around, but that's very, very cute. Next up here, we have more VS going with the Triple Crow in the main deck. Of course, 2-shifter. I think 2-shifter is fine in the main deck. You're definitely going to be getting your job done with this. Also do see we have the double Dogger on still. We're kind of becoming a little bit cookie cutter in the way that this deck feels like its design is setting up, but this deck is not an incredibly hard one to deal with underneath, current restrictions. Megalith. Oh, man, people have loved this deck. The fact that the big Chungas here kind of revitalized this deck is actually very, very telling. I also do see we're playing Ritual Bust. Only activate when a Ritual monster is Ritual. Some of your opponent can activate any spells or traps or use their effects until your next standby phase. Yes. Turn skipping the opponent. That's going to feel really, really fun. But you know what? That seems pretty strong. And then we've got Lunalights. To those of you that know pendulums are in fact banned out of this format, that's fine. We have the big card itself here that we can kind of cheese at. You also do see Super Polymerization has been finding its way into side decks here, because this is just another oppressive powerhouse. Being able to deploy this just strictly wins you the game. So Konami, you just supplement in your hand traps here, and you're basically off to the races to work on your strategy. Next up here, we have Burning Abyss, Goblin Bikers with the Buio the Dawn's Light. The fact that Grand Biker Grand Entrance is 33 points, but they still are able to slot in one single copy of this is a hilarious sort of thing to see. Also, the fact that these fusions are basically free is incredibly crazy. We're also side decking the Materia Reactor Critical in here as well. Well, you're definitely getting your cool points here, that's for sure. Ooh, we have Archmage. This deck tends to really shake things up. And I think that's a really, really cool thing about what this deck tries to do. I do see that we are playing a mini K9 package in here. May as well, right? Like, if your deck's package is essentially free, you're just going to try to supplement in good cards to ensure that, we'll be able to set up and actually board break the opponent where we need to. I mean, this looks pretty strong. So, I got to give this deck some credit. It's been a lot of fun to watch. And then we have more Odeon, the Sudden Thunder Swamp. This card is such a good card. I do see that we're not going like totally crazy on the Dominus cards here, but it's still apparent that, you know, we are using these good cards to kind of help facilitate and get combos set up. And I do think that is pretty strong. So, yeah, Super Poly is a good card. But what do you guys think about all of these cool decks? Please, then comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll have top 32 for you later on. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.